These poems are from the book, should have been Jimmy Savannah. It started out being a book of poems about Motown, because I'm a Motown baby. And then I realized that the reason Motown held such sway over me when I was growing up is my parents came up from the South, and they were kind of confounded. It was like, we're in this new place, and we have this child to raise, and I was left to my own devices a lot, and so I looked to Motown music to give me direction for my life. So all my ideas about life, love, and romance were pretty much defined by whatever Motown song was out at the time. But it then became a book about my parents and me being first generation up north. So I'm going to start with the title poem from the book, should have been Jimmy Savannah. When I'm an adult, right, and I have a conversation with my mother, and my mother's laughing, and I go, what's up? And she says, well, you won't believe this. She said, when you were born, your father wanted to name you Jimmy Savannah. And I almost strangled her, and I said, I bet you said no, did you? Wouldn't that be a cool poet name? So I was like, well, I was really pissed off. So this is called Should Have Been Jimmy Savannah. My mother scraped the name Patricia Ann from the ruins of her discarded delta, thinking it would offer me shield and shelter that leering men would skulk away at the slap of it. Her hands on the hips of Alabama, she went for flat and functional, then siphoned each syllable of drama, repeatedly crushing it with her broad, practical tongue until it sounded like an instruction to God and not a name. She wanted a child of pressed head and knocking knees, a trip up in the double Dutch swing, a starched pinafore and peppermint in the sour pickle kind of child, stiff-laced and unshakably fixed on salvation. Her Patricia Ann would never idly throat the Lord's name or wear one of those thin, sparkled skirts that flirted with her knees. She'd be a nurse or a third-grade teacher or a postal drone, jobs requiring alarm clock discipline and sensible shoes. My 4 downbeats were music enough for a vapid life of butcher shop sawdust and fatback as cuisine, for raids spritzed into the writhing pockets of a Murphy bed. No crinkled consonants or muted hiss would summon me. My daddy detested borders. One look at my mother's watery belly, and he insisted, as much as he could insist with her, on the name Jimmy Savannah, seeking to bless me with the blues-bathed moniker of a ball breaker, the name of a grown gal in a snug red dress and unlaced all-stars. He wanted to shoot muscle through whatever I was called, arm each syllable with tiny weapons so no one would mistake me for anything other than a tricky whisperer with a switchblade in my shoe. I was bound to be all legs, a bladed debutante hooked on Lucky Strikes and sugar. When I sent up prayers, God's boy would giggle and consider. Daddy didn't want me to be anybody's surefire factory, nobody's callback or seized rhythm, so he conjured a name so odd and hot even a boy could claim it. And yes, he was prepared for the look my mother gave him when he first mouthed his choice, the look that said, "That's it, you done lost your goddamn mind." She did that thing she does where she grows 2 full inches with righteous, and he decided to just whisper, "Love you, Jimmy Savannah," whenever we were alone, rechristening me the seed of Otis, conjuring his own religion and naming it me. Thank you guys. So now you guys have totally confused me because I was going to read something else. Okay. Signals are all mixed coming out of it. All right. I'll ask you. Hi, I'll ask you. All right. So do you want to hear like a long poem about Motown? Or, they say long, no. Well, the long poem about Motown is the only kind of lighthearted one, but you don't care about lighthearted. You just want to hear poetry. Okay, good. That's what we're doing. This is me. Dennis and I were involved in, at one point, the Stone Coast program, MFA program, and one year Marilyn Nelson came, and I was one of those little stalkers following her. "Oh, Marilyn, I wish I could write like you." And what she had done, really, she'd written this really stunning crown of sonnets, right? Where, you write the crown and the last line of one sonnet becomes the first line of the next, and that's all, huh? And then the last sonnet is composed of all the first lines of all the other sonnets. And I was like, I wish I. And finally she just turned full around and she said, go write it. So that's where this came from. Marilyn Nelson threatening me. It's about Motown, so. The Temps. All swerve and pivot conjured schemes that had us skipping school, made us forget how mama schooled us hard against the threat of 5-part harmony and sharkskin seams. We spent our school days balanced on the beams of moon we wished upon, the needle jet black 45s that spun and hadn't yet become the dizzy spinning of our dreams. Sugar pie, honey bun, oh, you loved our tangled hair and rusty knees. Marvin Gaye slowed down while we gave chase, then wowed us with his skitty hips on cue. We hungered for the anguished screech of please from soulful throats, relentless and booming bass. From soulful throats, relentless booming bass softened with the turn of Smokey's key. His languid, liquid, luscious, aching plea for bodies we didn't have yet made a case for lying to ourselves. He would embrace our naps and raging pimples. We could see his croon inside our clothes. His pedigree of milky, flawless skin meant we replace our daddies with his fine and lanky frame. I did you wrong, my heart went out to play, he serenaded, filling up the space that separated smoke from certain flame. Couldn't comprehend the drug of him, his sway, silk where his throat should be. He growled such grace. Silk where his throat should be, and growling grace, little Stevie made us wonder why we even needed sight. His rhythm eye could see us click our hips and pump in place whenever he cut loose. Ooh, we'd unlace our Converse All-Stars. Yeah, we wondered why we couldn't get down without our shoes. We tried to dance and keep up with his funky pace of hiss and howl and hum, and then he'd slow to twist our hearts until he heard them crack, ignoring lonesome leaking from the seams. The rocking blind boy couldn't help but show us light. We wailed his every soulful track through open windows and 'neath the door, pipe dreams. Through open windows, 'neath the door, pipe dreams served up Bone Bouffant, the serpentine, and bug-eyed Lady D, the boisterous queen of overdone, her body built from beams of awkward light. Her slithering extremes just made us feel so small. Insanely lean, everywhere she stepped, she caused a scene. We craved her wigs and waist and crafted schemes that would ensure our hips would soon be thin, that we'd hear symphonies, wouldn't hurry, love, 'cause Diana said, make sure it gleams no matter what it is. Her different spin, a voice like sugar air, no inkling of a soul beneath the vinyl, the Supremes. That soul beneath the vinyl, the Supremes knew nothing of it. They were breathy sighs and flowing hips, soul music's booby prize. But Mary Wells, so drained of self-esteem, was a pudgy, barstool-riding, buck-toothed dream who none of us would dare to idolize out loud. She had our nightmares memorized, and like or like it not, she wailed our theme while her too blackness made us ill at ease, and we smeared creams on to reach for white. When Mary's My Guy blared, we didn't think race, 'cause there was all that romance and the keys that Motown held. Unlocked, we'd soon ignite. We stockpiled extra sequins just in case. We stockpiled extra sequins just in case the Marvelettes pronounced we'd benefit from little dabs of shine. If we could get inside their swirl, a kind of naughty place, we knew that all the boys would have to brace themselves against our heat, much too legit to dress up as some other thing. We split our blue jeans trying to match their pace. And soon our breasts began to pop. We spoke in bluer tones, and Berry Gordy looked and licked his lips. Our only saving grace, the luscious, liquid, languid tone of smoke, the soundtrack while our A-cup bras unhooked. Our Sutton Negro hips required more space. Our Sutton Negro hips required more space, but we pretended not to feel that spill that changed the way we walked. And yes, we still felt nappy, awkward, strangely out of place, while Motown crammed our eager hearts with lace and storylines. Romance was all uphill. No push, no prod, no bitter magic pill could lift us to its light, and not a trace of prizes they said we'd already won. As mamas called on Jesus, shook their heads and mourned our Delta names, we didn't deem to care. Religion? There was only one. We took transistor preachers to our beds, and Smokey sang a lyric dripping cream. While Smokey sang a lyric dripping cream, Levi tried to woo us with his growl. I can't help myself. Admitted with a scowl, this bit of weakness was a clever scheme to keep us screaming, front row, blasting vowels, we rocked and we steamed. Levi, on the prowl, glowed black, a savior in the stage light's beam. But then the stage light dimmed, and there we were in bodies primed for what we didn't know. We sang off key while skipping home alone. Deceptions that you sing to tend to blur and disappear in dance. Why is that so? Ask any colored girl, and she will moan. Ask any colored girl, and she will moan and answer with a downbeat and a sleek 5-part croon. She's dazzled, and she'll shriek what she's been taught. She won't be long alone or crazed with wanting more. One day she'll own that quiet heart that Motown taught to speak. She'll know that being the same makes her unique. She'll worship at the God of microphone until the bass line booms, until some old temptation leers and says, I'll take you home and heal you in the way the music vowed. She's mesmerized, his moves, his teeth of gold. She dances to the drumbeat of his poem, remembering how love had lied so loud. Remembering how love had lied so loud, we tangled in the rhythms that we chose. Seduced by thump and sequins, heaven knows we tried to live our hopeful lives unbowed, but bending led to break. We were so proud to mirror every lyric. Radios spit beg and mend, and sturdy stereos told us what we weren't and weren't allowed. Our daddies sweat in factories while we found other daddies under limelight's glow. Desperate, we begged them to illuminate the glitter lives they said they'd guarantee would save us. Instead, the crippling blow. We whimpered while the downbeat dangled bait. We whimpered while the downbeat dangled bait. We leapt and swallowed all the music said, while Smokey laughed and Marvin fell and bled. Their sinning slapped us hard and slapped us straight, and even then we listened for the great announcement of the drum, for tune to spread, a marvelette to pick up on the thread. But as we know by now, it's much too late to reconsider love or claw our way through all the glow they tossed to slow our roll. What we know now we should have always known. When Smokey winked at us and whispered, they don't love you like I do, he snagged our soul. We wound up doing the slow drag, all alone. They made us do the slow drag all alone. They made us kiss our mirrors and deal with heat and hips we couldn't control. They danced deceit, and we did too, addicted to the drone of revelation and the verses thrown our way. Ho ho, love will rock your world. The verses we spin will certainly beat the real thing any day. Oh yes, we own you now. We sang you pliable and clueless, waiting, waiting. Oh, the dream you'll hug one day, the boy who craves you right out loud in front of everyone. But we told you, we know we did. We preached it with a shrug. Less than perfect love, not allowed. Less than perfect love was not allowed. Temptations begged as if their every sway depended on you coming home to stay. Diana whispered air, aloof and proud to be the perfect girl beneath a shroud of glitter and a fright she held at bay. And Michael Jackson, flailing in the fray of daddy love, succumbed to every crowd. What would we have done if not for them, wooing us with roses carved of sound and hiding muck we're born to navigate? Little did we know that they'd condemn us to live so tethered to the ground, while every song they sang told us to wait. Every song they sang told us to wait, and wait we did, our gangly heartbeats stunned and holding place. Already so outgunned, we little girls obeyed, and now it's late, and CDs spinning just intimidate. The songs all say, just look at what you've done. You've wished through your whole life, and one by one your trusting sisters realize they don't rate. So now, At 50 plus, I turn around and see the glitter drifting in my wake and mingling with the dirt. My dingy dreams are shoved high on the shelf. They're wrapped and bound so I can't see and contemplate that ache. The temps, all swirl and pivot, conjured schemes. The temps all swirl and pivot, conjured schemes, from soulful throats, relentless booming bass, then silk where throat should be. Much growling grace, from open window and neath the door, pipe dreams that sold beneath the vinyl. The Supremes used to stockpile extra sequins just in case Diana's Negro hips required more space, while Smokey penned a lyric dripping cream. Ask any colored girl, and she will moan, remembering how love had lied so loud. I whimpered while the downbeat dangled bait, and taught myself to slow drag all alone. Less than perfect love was not allowed, and every song they sang told me to wait. Thank you.